Hello and welcome to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I'm joined by Tim Young down the line, who is a day trader at Ayondo. How are you today, Tim?
Very good, thanks, Matt.
Well, as always, thank you so much for coming on the show on this bright and breezy Friday morning. Starting off, we're going to look at the FTSE and the FTSE 4-hourly chart. FTSE, it's been performing quite well of late. Just talk us through the chart. It's hopefully going to push higher, but what are your thoughts?
Well, this is as of the close yesterday. I mean, the first thing that strikes me is the total lack of volatility we've had in the FTSE in the last week or so. I mean, it's just been unbelievably tight range. We've got so many 4-hour candlesticks there where it's barely moved. And that's been the story for a lot of this year with the FTSE. But that's just exemplified there. You know, you just got virtually, just very, very little movement. We've got quite a few candlesticks which have got quite long wicks, so they look quite bullish, but it's never really followed through on that. So it's been quite good for just, sniping a few winning trades here and there, which is what I've been doing, but there's been no real breakout from this level. It's just sideways nothingness is all you can really describe it for the last week, really.
And looking at the indicators, Mac, the stochastic and the RSIs, are they telling us anything? I can't. Nothing's jumping out at me at the moment. No,
I mean, it was hard to know which chart to send because there isn't really much direction going on in the FTSE at the moment. If anything, I think this sideways movement is just is helping to undo any overboughtness. So I think it's giving it more room eventually to go higher, but it's just and as normally happens, you get these really long sideways consolidations, and the longer that goes on, normally the higher it breaks out at the end of it. But all I would say is, we're not anywhere near overbought on either of those indicators, so there's plenty of room for it to go higher. But it's just waiting for that to happen. We seem to have reached resistance around the 7,500-ish kind of level. We haven't broken out above that yet. I think we will, but I think it's, as I say, it's just taking its time to build momentum to get over that level.
Understood. And if we pan out and look at the weekly chart, is that giving us any more direction or idea of where this can go?
Not really. I mean, the weekly is almost the same sort of pattern as the 4-hourly. You just got this sideways going all the way back to, I think it's nearly the beginning. Back to the beginning of the year. We've had this sideways to slightly up movement, but we haven't yet broken out. We were slightly overbought on the stochastic there, but the RSI's still got room to go. So I still expect it to break out over the 7.5s by the end of this year, but it's just taking its time. It's been a frustrating market this year because there's so many days where it's hardly moved. It's been difficult to make the number of trades I normally like to make, but that's just the way it's been.
Understood. And just looking globally at the weekend, we've got a few things. We've got Japanese election. We may have a Fed announcement from the US government regarding a Fed chair. We also saw overnight tax reform cuts being passed by the Senate. So, I mean, as a trader into the FTSE, I mean, it's helped push the FTSE higher. We've seen the banks a little bit higher, but there's a little bit of event risk potentially over the weekend. Does that affect how you trade today, and would you be looking to maybe close out trades towards the end of the day ahead of the weekend?
Probably not this weekend, only because I've got one very small position open at the moment, so I certainly won't be increasing that this side of the weekend. But I tend to believe that the market tends to make up its mind on what it's going to do almost regardless of events, it seems, at the moment. And we've had a lot of events that would seem to be bearish, and yet the market's gone higher. So I'm not too, short of a major catastrophe, which obviously no one can predict. I don't think any of those events are going to have a majorly adverse effect on the market. So there won't be effect in holding a very small trade over the weekend.
Understood. Well, as always, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to catching up with you next week.
You too. Thanks, Matt.